Part 28. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 271. Healing. Healing. Add 450,000. Add 200,000. Hearing this, Blue Cat and Alice immediately lost their treatment. The priest's healing amount actually depends on the basic magic attack, that is, the higher the basic magic attack, the higher the healing amount. Alice is a level 61 lord, wearing a mix of gold equipment from levels 30 to 60. She has a basic magic attack of 40,000 plus. After all, she is a lord, and her 5 attributes have grown very high. At this stage, even the master level only has 30,000 basic physical attack or magic attack, and Alice is still above them. The 2 treatments came, and the NPC breeder with residual health suddenly became full of health, and his pale face seemed to turn rosy. It's useless, he's too brittle. We've tried it a long time ago and there's no way he can be saved. Another pastor, Papa Smurf, did not take action, but shook his head. NPCs will not appear in the dungeon for no reason. Since they appear, they will probably have some kind of settings. Although the Temple of Goddess are all women, they are all ruthless characters, and of course they have guessed this. When they reached the hell level before, they also tried to save the NPC breeder, but they couldn't save it no matter what. Is it? Yang Tian smiled, waved his hand, and put a bone shield on the NPC breeder. Almost at the same time, the pack of vicious wolves behind the NPC breeder howled and pounced, and the strong wolf claw slapped the former's butt hard. Bang 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 bang. The NPC breeder withstood the group attack and naturally didn't lose a drop of blood, but cracks appeared on the bone shield. Bone shield only increases life and dark resistance. Released by Yang Tian, Bone shield has 4.5 million lives and 600 points of dark resistance. Because it is hell difficulty, all monsters have been strengthened. Level 60 high-level monsters are comparable to level 60 elites. A level 60 elite, comparable to a level 60 leader. In other words, those evil wolves all have elite strength of level 60 or above. The NPC breeder has not been strengthened and is only a level 60 elite. Each evil wolf can inflict at least 200,000 damage by using skills. In the blink of an eye, the bone shield on the NPC breeder becomes scarred and seems to be destroyed at any time. The bone shield only adds life and dark resistance, but does not increase defense. And the NPC breeder's defense is too fragile. Yang Tian shook his head secretly. Putting his bone shield on the NPC breeder was really a waste. But at any rate, it also helped the NPC breeder to withstand the wave. Such a strong bone shield, Xuangguo, beautiful woman, beautiful scenery. These 3 mage beauties stared at Yang Tian at the same time, their beautiful eyes filled with disbelief. Xuangguo is the controller of ice, a hidden profession of ice magic. Beauty and Disaster is the controller of fire, which can be regarded as a hidden profession of fire magic. The beautiful scenery is the elemental mage. In the entire Temple of the Goddess, the 3 of them are already the strongest mages, but they don't like fighting monsters, and their elemental shield levels are not high. At the same time, their basic magic attack is only about 30,000, an elemental shield, only about 300,000 lives, and some resistance. Compared to Yang Tian's 4.5 million life bone shield, they actually don't count. Elemental shield is of course also a buff. For buffs with the same name, whether they are increasing buffs or weakening buffs, the effects cannot be superimposed. Even if 100 mages release a kind of elemental shield at the same time, only the last one will be effective, and the previous ones will be covered. Xuangguo, proficient in ice armor. Beauty is a Disaster, proficient in flame armor. She is beautiful and proficient in ice armor, flame armor, and earth armor, but her ice armor and flame armor are naturally not as powerful as the first 2, so she only needs to release the earth armor. Before, when they led a group to fight the hell level, 3 elemental shields were all blessed on the NPC breeders. However, it all adds up to less than a million lives, 100 points of ice resistance, 100 points of fire resistance, and some physical defense and stiffness. Even though the NPC breeders gave them 3 elemental shields, they still couldn't withstand the attack from the wolves behind. My current basic magic attack is as high as 35,000 plus. Even if I train the ice armor to LV 100, it seems that it is not as strong as the bone shield of Muddy Waters. Could it be that his bone shield is already LV 100? No, 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 that is not realistic. I would rather believe that his basic magic attack is as high as 100,000 or more. Xuanggro sighed secretly, and couldn't help but tremble in her heart. If what he expected was true, wouldn't Muddy Waters have combat power comparable to Boss? Total annihilation. When Yang Tian released the bone shield, Huang Mao had already summoned his mount and rushed over. A raging wave of fire rushed out, killing hundreds of the evil wolves following the NPC breeder. This is nothing, Xuanggro and others all have such combat power. In fact, as long as you help the NPC breeder withstand a wave, you can rescue him. But here's the difficulty. Many people now have no way to help breeders withstand that wave. Darkness is coming. Dark sea of fire. With a squeak sound, black flames swept across the earth and began to burn all the wolves. 157,000. 157,000. 157,000. 157,000. For a moment, thousands of wolves lost blood from their heads, rolled in the flames, and screamed. The huge damage filled the screen. How spectacular it was. Those wolves were only level 60 elites, with a HP of barely 400,000. In other words, they could not hold out for 3 seconds under the burning of the dark sea of fire. Hiss. Xuanggro, Hanjian Huashui, Shanking Shuaxiu, Blue Daddy, and others were shocked again. Hey, when did the sea of fire have such high damage? Hanjian's sister, I remember that your sea of fire can only burn 30,000 blood out of the wolves. You are currently a lieutenant colonel, with a level 2 fighting spirit, which triples the damage, and releasing the sea of fire can only burn 90,000 blood out of the wolves in 1 second. Xuanggro turned her head and stared at Yang Tian deeply, sighing, Muddy Water has no fighting spirit, but can burn 150,000 blood out of the wolves in 1 second. Is the gap really that big? Hearing this, Hanjian Huashui bit her red lips lightly with her pearly teeth. She also has the level of a great god, and is not inferior to Aoshi Fenshin. As a girl, she can reach such a level, surpassing most boys, and she feels extremely proud. But now compared with Yang Tian, it seems that, Yang Tian is a giant, and she is just a baby. The gap between the two sides is simply a chasm, which is really unbelievable to her. Len Mao, Lan Papa, Shan King Shuaxiu and other girls also looked at Yang Tian sideways, only to feel that their eyes were opened, and they sighed in their hearts, I am just a frog at the bottom of the well, and he is the real great god. 3 seconds passed quickly, and the evil wolves fell in unison, and rich spoils exploded in the black sea of fire. In the back, the teleportation array connected to the second level of Crazy Zoo was lit up. Too fast, even if it is hell difficulty, one level only takes a few seconds. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 272. NPC Keeper, Default Friendly. Yang Tian's dark sea of fire did not hurt him. Now that all the evil wolves are dead, his life is completely saved. Thank you. The keeper looked back at the wolf corpses and felt a palpitation. He shook his head immediately and strode over to thank Yang Tian and others. You're welcome. Yang Tian nodded and accepted the keeper's thanks. Next, he didn't say much, because he knew that the keeper had something else to say. Sure enough, the keeper held back for 2 or 3 seconds and sighed, Hey, I don't know why, The animals in our zoo have become very crazy and bloodthirsty. As a keeper, I am really sad. Where is your director? Yang Tian asked. Don't mention it, our director seems to have been demonized, very crazy, and no one dares to approach the keeper's side. In that case, let's go and defeat the director and make him sober again, Yang Tian said. This copy is very special, and the monsters that are killed will not disappear. For example, the wolves that had been burned to death before were resurrected. Their appearance also changed greatly. They became smaller, no longer ferocious and brutal, and no longer bloodthirsty. They became ornamental animals and no longer aggressive. In the same way, if the director is defeated, he will become sober again. After our director went crazy, he became very powerful. Warrior, I am willing to lend you a hand, the breeder said seriously. Puff. Upon hearing this, someone laughed out loud. Hey, you are a level 60 elite. In this dungeon, any monster is stronger than you. Where do you get the confidence to lend us a hand? Only Yang Tian smiled. He knew the development of the plot and of course knew that this breeder had this ability. After cleaning up the spoils, Yang Tian led the team to continue moving forward, and the dark sea of fire burned all the way. Not long after, everyone crushed another level and passed into the next level. Everyone appeared on a lake. The water was very clear. Yang Tian could see 3 huge black shadows under the water, rushing towards everyone. Everyone stood on several wooden boats. All players can swim by default, but their speed and damage are halved in the water. Under this disadvantage, it is undoubtedly very difficult for players to fight water monsters in the water. 3 crocodiles, 1 enhanced king beast, and 2 enhanced lords, Xuangguo reminded. She had played this dungeon before, so she knew it well. Above the lord, even if it is enhanced by hellfire, it is impossible to cross a level. Enhanced lord, although much stronger than lord, but not as good as king beast. Enhanced king beast, although much stronger than king beast, but not as good as emperor beast. The emperor beast in the hell dungeon does not have the hellfire mark on its forehead, which means that the emperor beast has not been enhanced. Extreme summoning. Yang Tian waved his hand, and 10 huge summoning arrays lit up in the lake ahead. Immediately, a dark army of undead emerged from the water, and soon sank again, with only the part above the chest exposed on the water. In the water, their speed and damage were also halved. Of course, Yang Tian did not expect them to output, and directly a darkness descended, and a corpse exploded and crushed down. Bang bang bang. The undead army exploded, stirring up waves. After a while, the lake was dyed red with blood, and then the bodies of 3 crocodiles floated up, with their round white bellies facing the sky. Of course, they also exploded a lot of loot, floating on the lake. Oh my god, this muddy water is not simple. Xuangguo, Hanji and Huashui and others looked at each other, and they were all shocked. In their goddess temple, no girl is willing to play a necromancer, but they have also seen other guilds or passers-by necromancers, and think that necromancers are very ordinary, at least in the early stage. But when they came to Yang Tian, they refreshed their 3 views in various ways. Summoning hundreds or thousands of undead at a time, wow, the general necromancer has less than half of his troops Xuangguo's side. In fact, the necromancer is already a popular profession. It is estimated that there are not many in the entire Chinese war zone. The necromancer is too difficult to play. Many players delete their accounts and start over after experiencing it. Those who are still persisting can only slow down the pace because of insufficient mana. They can only summon a team of undead at a time and practice only one summoning skill at a time. Of course, their summoning skills cannot be practiced, so they can only persevere and bet on the rise in the later stage. After reaching level 120, the Spirit King player will recover 3% of blood and 3% of mana per second. After cleaning up the spoils, everyone started rowing forward and soon went ashore. There is a teleportation array on the left and right sides. One is red, representing the boss level. The other is white, representing the ordinary level. Go over there first. At this time, the trainer who had been silent and quietly following everyone suddenly spoke. Xuangrou didn't say anything either. She was the leader and led the group directly into the last ordinary level. Ah! A huge iron cage appeared in front of everyone. Inside the iron cage, there was a snow-white lion lying inside. It was covered with wounds and dying. Light Lion King, Royal Beast. Level 65. HP, 1 million/25 million. Basic physical attack, 250,000. Light attribute attack. Light intensity 3800. Light resistance 8000, dark fire and ice resistance 4000. Armor break 2000. Double guard 3000. Skills, charge, roar, Tarzan, thunder punishment, lightning. Passive, earthquake. Note, residual health status. The bright lion is different from other monsters in the dungeon. It does not seem to be demonized and has no malice towards players. Even the name above the head is orange, representing neutrality. In other words, as long as the player does not actively attack it, it will generally not hurt people. Of course, it is now locked in an iron cage, so even if it wants to hurt someone, it probably can't do it. Yang Tian saw the Lion King of Light, turned to Xuangrou and smiled. How did you deal with this level before? Before, they were all killed. Once, a level 60 Imperial weapon was revealed, Len Mu said calmly. Xuangrou nodded and said, although it is a neutral monster, I guess that if we rescue it, it may help us deal with the final boss. But the lock of the iron cage, even if it is our chief assassin Len Mu, can't be opened now. By the way, could it be? Xuangrou seemed to have thought of something and looked at the breeder. Could it be that the breeder has an iron key? This must be the case, otherwise, why would this copy arrange for this NPC breeder to exist? Xuangrou's heart skipped a beat, and she understood instantly. She looked at each other with the sisters, and everyone nodded. Come to think of it, they also reacted. The Bright Lion King is a level 65 Imperial Beast, which is similar to the last boss. It seems that the first kill is guaranteed this time. Xuangrou and others all smiled slightly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 273. Brother Shui is still great. If it were us, even if we knew the strategy of this hell dungeon, we wouldn't be able to save the NPC breeder in the first level. Xuangrou looked at Yang Tian and smiled brightly, full of lethality. Xuangrou is undoubtedly a beauty, has good conditions, and is the president of the goddess temple. Even if she wanted to please Yang Tian, she still had such confidence. At this time, the blue cat's expression darkened. In terms of appearance and figure, she is not inferior to Xuangrou at all, but Xuangrou is the president of the temple of the goddess, and she is just an ordinary player. On this point alone, she doesn't know how much she has lost. Xuangrou only admires Yang Tian's strength, and she likes Yang Tian a little bit, but she doesn't even have the courage to show her favor to Yang Tian, so she can only bury her good feelings deep in her heart and wait for time to dissipate. Click. Sure enough, the keeper had the key to the iron prison. He opened the iron prison, walked in and stroked the white lion's head. Warriors, please help the white lion heal its injuries. It will help you, the keeper said confidently. Hearing this, the blue cat Alice and Papa Smurf, three beautiful priests, began to unleash healing, slow healing, and other skills on the Lion of Light. Not long after, the Lion King of Light returned to its peak state. It stood up, roared with rage, and looked full of majesty. Humans, thank you. The master's soul has been tainted by the devil. I will go and make the master wake up. The Lion King of Light spoke human words and carefully thanked everyone. Everyone looked at each other and smiled. Immediately afterwards, Xuangrou led the group and entered the boss level. It was a huge square of several thousand square meters, and in the center stood a short, fat, middle-aged man with small eyes, a flat nose, and an ordinary appearance, which looked quite festive. However, he was surrounded by a dense demonic aura, and there was no joy on his face anymore, only cruelty. Crazy Zoo Director Li Fu, Emperor level / Intelligent Life. Level 65. HP, 20 million. Basic Magic Attack, 200,000. No Attribute Attack. 4 Resistance 5,000. Magic Penetration 1,000. Double Guardian 2,000 points. Skills, Whip, 8 Directions Formation, Pet Barrier, Beast Blood Boiling. Passive, Earthquake. Introduction, demonic energy enters the body and becomes the devil's puppet. Xiao Bai, you actually betrayed me. If I had known earlier, I should have killed you. Li Fu stared at the Lion King of Light, and his expression became extremely ferocious. After speaking, he waved his hand and summoned a dozen giant pets. Li Fu, the director of this zoo, is an animal trainer. An animal tamer can also be considered a type of summoner. But summoners such as necromancers summon undead souls as summons. As for the animal trainer, there is no summon, he can only summon his own pet. In other words, the stronger the tamer's pet, the stronger the tamer. If you are a player, there are only 4 pet slots at the beginning. Defeat the Beast King, Lord, of the same level and open a pet column. Defeat the Beast King, King Beast, of the same level and open a pet column. Defeat the Beast King, Imperial Beast, of the same level and open a pet column. Before gathering spirits, players could only have 7 pet slots at most, and trainer players could only have 7 pets at most. But the NPC couldn't use common sense to infer that Li Fu summoned more than a dozen pets at once. There are 12 King Beast battle pets, and they are all strengthened by Hellfire. This is where we fell before. Xuangrou said solemnly. The beast's blood boils. Li Fu blessed a group buff, causing his pets to become even crazier and rush towards everyone. Roar. Xiao Jin and the Lion King of Light came forward one after another. Even they could not hold out for long under the siege of 12 enhanced king beasts. Dress up. Mirror of Life. Yang Tian decisively summoned White Muddy Water. Under the control of his will, White Muddy Water used extreme summoning to summon a black army of undead around Li Fu. Darkness is coming. Weak. Corpse Explosion. White Muddy Water released his skills one after another, and finally snapped his fingers. The army of white undead under his command suddenly rushed out, and when it was about to explode, Li Fu was startled. Pet Barrier. The next moment, a circular barrier popped up around Li Fu, protecting him. The defensive ability of this pet barrier depends on the quality and quantity of the pets under its command. The 12 enhanced king beasts under his command triggered the pet barrier, which was naturally ridiculously powerful. The white undead army exploded, barely destroying the barrier and knocking out about 1 million lives of Li Fu. Haha, Yang Tian smiled slightly. The purpose of summoning the White Muddy Water was to deceive Li Fu's pet barrier. Next, he can do another set. Extreme Call. Corpse Explosion. Bang bang bang. The undead army under Yang Tian exploded, killing more than 13 million lives, and cut off half of Li Fu's blood tank. The damage deepens. Yang Tian stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers, and with a bang sound, Li Fu's wound opened twice as much again, and he died of violent bleeding. Xuangrou and the others opened their mouths wide in horror. A level 65 Emperor boss, this guy just died like this? The power of corpse explosion depends on the number of undead. An ordinary undead will do double the damage, that guy's army of thousands of undead will do 1,000 times more damage, isn't it? Hanji and Huashui glanced at the sisters and said in a low voice. Now, many high-end players have trained their common skills to LV20 or above, which is only more than 10 times. Compared with Corpse Explosion, it is really far behind. As a mage, Hanji and Huashui suddenly envied the Necromancer. Although the Necromancer is difficult to play, it is so terrible when it is really played. No, for ordinary Necromancers, it is very difficult to stack mana. They don't have the spare energy to stack output. Therefore, the output ability of ordinary Necromancers is very low, or even no output ability. The power of their Corpse Explosion is actually not far from the power of our common skills. Another point is that because of the lack of mana, the number of undead under the command of ordinary Necromancers is far less abnormal than this guy. This also weakens the power of Corpse Explosion invisibly. In short, I am afraid that only this guy can play the Corpse Explosion to such a terrible degree, Xuangrou analyzed calmly. The more she analyzed, the more she felt that Yang Tianqiang was incredible. Tegzu is still quite balanced. It is precisely because the output of the Necromancer is low that a Corpse Explosion is given, which has a perverted percentage output. With this skill, the personal output of the Necromancer is comparable to that of the Elemental Mage. However, Yang Tian's existence broke this balance. His basic output is far beyond that of ordinary Elemental Mages, and with the perverted skill of Corpse Explosion, the power is naturally unimaginable. There is also damage deepening. After the revision, damage deepening has become double fixed damage. Xuangrou continued, for ordinary Necromancers, because of their limited output, damage deepening is actually not very meaningful. They usually rely on boss-level undead to deal burst damage before using damage deepening. Or, they rely on powerful teammates to deal burst damage before using damage deepening. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 274. But he is different. Nowadays, because he has no fighting spirit, his combat power is not far behind ours, but his Corpse Explosion and deepening damage are definitely the limit explosion. In short, he is not easy to mess with. Xuangrou analyzed it carefully and said without hesitation. She couldn't imagine what would happen if Yang Tian opened his fighting spirit in the later period. Hearing this, Lengmu, Hanji and Huashui and others all nodded secretly. After all, they are women, and it is naturally extremely difficult to get to this point. If possible, they don't want to provoke any passerby king. Tianlan Empire broadcast, congratulations to players Han Shui, Yunu Hanjian, Xuangrou, for completing the first clearance of the hell level of Crazy Zoo, and get an extra skill point, as well as experience, coins, and Empire reputation rewards. The broadcast sounded, and the 14 people on Yang Tian's side and Xuangrou each got 1 skill point. The ranking of the first kill announcement is naturally the ranking of team contribution. The top 15 people each get 1 skill point. Seriously speaking, if Leng Mao and others go all out, their team contribution will definitely be ranked in the top. But this time it was Yang Tian who led the team, and the Goddess Temple only provided hell authority. It was good enough that Yang Tian could give them 1 skill point. Therefore, Leng Mao and other girls consciously did not take action, and almost all contributed 0. Tianlan Empire. In a certain wild area, a large group was brushing the wild. The leader was about 25 years old, with sinister eyes, a yellow python robe, and a face of rebellion. He was the president of the Hall of Fame, Qiu Feng. Muddy water? An angry beauty? Ha, Xuangrou, that bitch, pretended to be very noble, but in the end she still had to rely on men, Qiu Feng sneered when he heard the broadcast. He wanted to take Xuangrou down, because taking Xuangrou down was equivalent to taking down the Goddess Temple. By then, wouldn't his reputation in the Hall of Fame soar? Unfortunately, Xuangrou looked down on him. Boss, that muddy water is quite capable. He is very famous in the Xinwu Empire. Even Zififan and Jian Huang can't suppress him. The person who spoke was named Wang Sen. He was an assassin, and his whole body was shrouded in thick black air, which meant that he was extremely strong. Wang Sen, I think he has harvested several hellheads in the Xinwu Empire, but he is still not satisfied. Now he has come to our Tianlan Empire to be arrogant. Well, I know that person, but he is just a savage, and he has no power under his command. To put it bluntly, Zififan and Jian Huang are still straw bags. If we can't even suppress a savage, what's the point of living? Qiu Feng sneered, and naturally despised Zififan and Jian Huang in his heart. If it were him, he would suppress the newcomers with a little potential and not let others grow up at all. There are 3 more level 60 Hell First kills in the Tianlan Empire now. They will definitely go there to kill. You give orders and send people to stop them, Qiu Feng said grimly. Boss, if this happens, won't we offend the goddess temple? Wang Sen said with some concern. Tisk, those women are just dowries for us men to dominate the world, Qiu Feng said disdainfully. On the other side, in the hell copy of Crazy Zoo, Yang Tian and others have begun to clean up the spoils, 2 royal items, a natural furnace, and a cloth armor belt. Li Fu's special belt, royal weapon. Level 60. Physical defense add 4000. Magic defense add 5000. Intelligence add 3000. Spirit add 3000. MP add 20,000. Additional special effects, this equipment comes with 2 pet slots. So that's it, no wonder Li Fu has more than 10 battle pets. Huang Mao sighed beside him. This royal belt is simply the best state of the tamer profession. I think Li Fu has more than 1 belt. If a set of them can be dropped, it would be unimaginable. Of course, the drop rate of the first kill in the dungeon is extremely high, and the drop rate in the future is quite low. Does your guild have a tamer? Yang Tian asked. He didn't have a tamer, so he might as well do a favor. After all, the Goddess Temple is one of the top 10 guilds. If I can gain their friendship, it will be useful in the future. You know, no matter how many pets a general profession has, it can only summon 1 pet to fight. Hunters can summon 2. Only tamers can summon all the pets under their command. Of course, although NPC servants also occupy the pet column, there is no limit to the summoning of NPC servants, and you can summon as many as you want. In other words, the royal cloth armor is indeed only suitable for tamers. It's a pity that the tamer is a hidden profession. At present, there is no tamer in our guild. Shuangguo sighed. Is that so? Yang Tian nodded and put it away. Although the belt was cloth armor, which increased intelligence and spirit, he did not wear it because he did not want to destroy the set effect of the 30-level Imperial Weapon 6-piece set. 4 element strength add 600, element resistance add 1500, armor penetration add 300, double protection add 600. The set effect is very strong, unless there is a stronger equipment, Yang Tian will not easily change it. After everyone divided the spoils, Li Fu also resurrected. He hugged the Light Lion King with a happy expression. Shuangguo, Lengmu, and others were startled. They had killed the Light Lion King with low health before, and they could not see the scene at all. They did not expect that the 2 main pets were so attached to each other. Shuangguo sighed and wanted to exit the dungeon, but Yang Tian stopped her and said, "Wait a minute." Not long after, Li Fu smiled at Yang Tian and said, "Warrior, thank you for making me sober and saving Xiaobai, so that I will not regret it for the rest of my life. This is my thank you gift, please be sure to accept it." As he said that, Li Fu took out a basketball-sized pet egg and handed it to Yang Tian. Everyone was startled, especially Shuangguo and others. They had never thought that there would be extra rewards in this dungeon. And that pet egg turned out to be the pet egg of the Light Lion King. Not to mention them, even Yang Tian felt a dream. He had played this dungeon in his previous life and knew the perfect strategy. After rescuing the Light Lion King, defeating Li Fu, there is indeed an extra reward. But most of them are level 60 gold equipment, and there is only a very small chance of a level 60 king or emperor weapon. Yang Tian thought to himself that he was the first to kill, so the extra rewards would be more or less abundant, and a level 60 imperial weapon should be inevitable. But he really didn't expect that Li Fu would directly reward an imperial beast pet egg. The imperial beast pet egg is many times more precious than the imperial weapon. Hey, the number 1 in the Chinese Warzone war pet ranking is only a Lord war pet. The yellow-haired man opened his mouth and said in a lost voice, now there is not even a king beast war pet, and I didn't expect that an imperial beast war pet would appear directly. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 275. Yang Tian, Huang Mao, Sci-fi, and others were all ecstatic. They already have a considerable advantage, and now that they have acquired an imperial beast battle pet, this advantage will inevitably be further expanded. Xuanggro and the others looked envious. The royal beast battle pet must have nothing to do with them. Huang Mao, you don't have a decent battle pet at the moment. I'll give you this imperial beast battle pet egg. Yang Tian smiled and handed the battle pet egg to Huang Mao. The combat power on his side is already extremely terrifying, and there is no need for the Lion King of Light at all. If you want to travel, Xiaoliai is completely enough for now. Wow! After Yang Tian finished speaking, everyone was in an uproar. You know, there is not even a single king beast battle pet in the entire Chinese war zone. Now this royal beast battle pet egg, even if it costs millions or tens of millions of yuan, it is terrifying that there are countless second-generation rich people who want to buy it. Yang Tian just sent it out directly. How wealthy and arrogant this is, how, treating money like dirt. Wow, he's handsome, rich, and powerful. Please take care of me, boss. Immediately, several girls screamed at the temple of the goddess. It's not that they don't like men, it's just that they have too high standards and look down on most men. And only people like Yang Tian can make their hearts flutter. Long Lu, let's see, we are indeed with the wrong person. Next time there is an imperial beast battle pet, it might be our turn. Xiao Fei bumped Long Liu's arm beside him and laughed secretly. This immediately made De Long Liu's heart become extremely restless. You are too generous, aren't you? Huang Mao also opened his mouth wide. He also had an expression of disbelief until he took the imperial beast battle egg. Yang Tian secretly smiled in his heart. A royal beast lion pet egg can make you so excited. In the future, I will help you get a dragon pet. What will happen to you, kid? Yang Tian knew a hidden setting, the knight profession. Once you get a dragon pet, you can directly switch to a dragon knight profession. Of course, dragon pets are extremely rare and precious. Even in his previous life, Yang Tian Huang Mao had never obtained one. In this life, he will never miss it. He himself does not need it, but if Huang Mao changes his profession and becomes a dragon knight, he will definitely be stronger. After being excited for a while, Huang Mao cut open the palm of his left hand with a sharp blade, and blood poured out and dripped on the battle pet egg. A flash of white light flashed, the eggshell cracked, and immediately a cute snow-white lion cub appeared in front of everyone. So cute, all the girls squatted down and stroked the little lion's head. Yang Tian stared at the little lion with the eye of truth, and was secretly shocked. He thought that he was indeed an imperial beast. The basic attributes were too high. Although he was only at level 1, his HP had already exceeded 30,000. This was really scary. Nowadays, many level 60 crispy players do not have as much life as this level 1 little lion. Warriors, now the demon clan has come to the world. I am just one of the victims. You should be more careful. Just when everyone was immersed in joy, Li Fu suddenly said, his face extremely solemn. Everyone was startled. In Taixu, the demon clan is the demon clan. The weakest two winged demons are all spirit kings above level 120. Xuangrou glanced at everyone and talked eloquently, saying, even if the demons invade the human world, it is still an NPC matter, and we players can't get involved now. Yang Tian nodded secretly. In addition to demons, there are also angels in Taixu. The two races are at odds. Of course, demons are vicious and cruel, but angels are not very kind either. They also look down on humans and regard them as ants. In other words, angels and demons are not good things to humans. Players in Taixu's Hong default to humans. After completing relevant tasks, they can join the angel camp or the demon camp. Become an angel or a demon. In short, that is not something that players at this stage can interfere with. Xuangrou leads the group to exit the instance. Huangmao smiled and said, Zyro, do you have hell authority for the other 3 dungeons? Let's just get the first kill today. Well, where to go next? Xuangrou asked. She couldn't get the first kill on her own, so adding a skill point would be good. As for her sisters, although they couldn't get a skill point, they could still get some experience. You know, the experience of the first kill in hell is quite rich. Machinery factory. We have a teleportation array there. Let's teleport there. Please make a trip, Yang Tian said with a smile. No problem, Xuangrou nodded. The two sides reached an agreement, and Yang Tian, Huangmao and others took out the Shenlong Empire teleportation stone, turned into white light, and came to the protection range of the copy mirror of Machine Factory. Of course, there was a teleportation array arranged by Xiaofei in advance. Xuangrou and others teleported to the main city and rushed to the machinery factory. More than 10 minutes later, Xuangrou and others did not come over. Xiaofei was impatient and complained in a low voice, those girls are all masters, can they not even afford a set of agility gems? Everyone nodded secretly after hearing this. If they had a set of agility gems, they would be able to move very fast. 10 minutes is enough to rush from the main city to the dungeon. At this time, Huangmao was suddenly startled and said, Zyro sent a message, they were blocked by someone, one of the top 10 guilds, Hall of Fame. After finishing speaking, Huangmao looked at Yang Tian and said, what should we do next? Yang Tian smiled and said, your old lover, what do you think we should do? Huangmao was suddenly sweating profusely and said with a wry smile, they say they are no longer old lovers. They are just friends we met while playing games in the past. The so-called master and apprentice are just a joke. I think you should just take it as a joke. Xuangrou has fair skin and beautiful looks, and she is also the president of the goddess temple. What kind of conditions are those? Why should she call you master? You have a handsome face, but you can't even see through the little reserve of girls, Huowu scolded with regret. Yeah, Blue Moon Blue Cat, and even Yang Tian and others nodded. As the saying goes, a bystander sees more clearly. Xuangrou's affection for Huangmao is too obvious. Huangmao was stunned and shook his head and said, impossible, she knows the relationship between Ziyan and me, she can't be that stupid. Ziyan? What's your relationship with that woman? I think you are a cheap guy. Xuangrou is almost at your fingertips, but you don't want her, but you think about that kind of ruthless woman. Yang Tian couldn't help but scold. Huangmao's face suddenly darkened and he fell silent. I don't know what he was thinking. Forget it, I don't care about your little thing. Even as friends, let's help them, Yang Tian said. Yeah, Huangmao nodded. Immediately, Yang Tian took back Xiao Jin and set off with Huangmao Xiaofei. The rest of the people stayed where they were. In a wild PK, if you die, you will lose a level. And the opponent is the Hall of Fame, Yang Tian. Huangmao Xiaofei can go, Yang Tian does not need to let others take risks. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 276. Yang Tian summons Xiao Lei to ride on him. Now Xiao Lei is also a level 61 lord, with a movement speed of more than 30,000, which is comparable to a set of level 60 advanced agility gems. Huang Mao and Xiao Fei all dressed up in a set of agility gems and ran quickly. Level 55 monster area of Tianlan Empire, Electric Dog Territory. Kaiyufeng Wangsun led 1,000 people and blocked Xuangguo and others on their way to Machine Factory. Xuangguo and others all activated their fighting spirit, and the strong men on Kaiyufeng Wangsun's side also activated their fighting spirit. The two sides had already fought for a while. Papa Smurf, the only one without fighting spirit on Xuangguo's side, has been killed. Xuangguo, how have you considered the advice I gave you? If you become my woman, your goddess temple will treat it as a dowry and submit to our Hall of Fame. Qiu Feng's sharp eyes were on Xuangguo's bumpy parts, sweeping them here and there, smiling seductively, and said wildly, "You should know that everyone in our Hall of Fame is a rich player. Let us support you, you will eat well and drink well. No loss at all." Qiu Feng is right, the Hall of Fame is indeed a guild of rich people. They only accept rich people, and poor people with no money can only look up to them. Rich people generally disdain that little salary and enjoy hanging out with like-minded people, pretending to be good and picking up girls together. Qiu Feng signs contracts without any salary, so you don't have to pay anything to get bigger. Of course, Qiu Feng is also a man who is not short of money, so it doesn't matter if he is asked to pay wages, but if the rich man doesn't want it, he has no choice. The Hall of Fame has become a symbol of the rich. With such a good reputation, rich people are proud to join the Hall of Fame. That is the standard of pretentiousness. The Hall of Fame full-level guild has 10,000 people under its command, all of whom are core contracted members. All of them are wealthy people who spend money like water. Even giant guilds like Zeus Demon God have to look up to them. Now that they have signed a contract, the rich people must abide by the rules and regulations because of the constraints of the contract. Therefore, this Hall of Fame guild is unimaginably powerful. Haha, Boss Qiu Feng, if you like Xuangguo, go ahead and your brothers won't compete with you, but you can't monopolize other beauties, right? Yes, there are more monks than meat. If you want to open a harem at this time, our brothers will not accept it. Everyone in the Hall of Fame laughed wildly. Each one is more arrogant and unscrupulous than the other. Looking at the past, the 1,000 of them were all wearing yellow python robes, shining with golden light, and they were extremely noble. The yellow python robe is one of the most expensive fashion items in Taizhou, with a set costing more than 10,000 yuan. There are 1,000 of them. No, in fact, there are 10,000 people in their Hall of Fame guild, all of them wearing yellow python robes. That is more than 100 million yuan. This is enough to show that all of them in the Hall of Fame are indeed wealthy. For them, money may really be toilet paper. In the Electric Dog Territory, some passers-by are still spawning monsters. They all opened their mouths and stared at the 1,000 yellow python robes in stunned silence, feeling that their titanium alloy dog eyes were going to be blinded. They simply cannot understand the world of rich people and cannot afford to offend them, so they can only stay away from them. You are shameless, but fortunately this is a game world. If it were in reality, I would tear your stinking mouth apart, Len Mu said coldly with a pretty face covered with frost. Xuangguo and others also frowned in disgust. Seeing Qiu Feng and others, they felt more disgusting than eating flies. In fact, women more or less love money. But some women have higher standards for choosing a spouse. In addition to money, what they value more is character and ability. And Xuangguo and others happen to be that kind of women. Regardless of family background, they have such strength in the game that they can make endless money. Because of this, they are all arrogant, so how can they look down on Qiu Feng's vile people? Oh, you girl with personality, what do you mean by reality? Well, you tell me your address, and I will go find you and see whether it is you who tears my big mouth apart, or whether I penetrate your small mouth down there. Haha, Mr. Feng, you are so damn cool. Everyone in the Hall of Fame burst into laughter again. Hearing this with cold eyes, his face turned blue and white, and he almost vomited blood in anger. Leng Mei, don't talk nonsense to them, let's rush over directly. They are just garbage with slightly better equipment, Zhuang Guo said with a sneer. If an ordinary person sees a kryptonite tycoon, they will be scared to the point of weakness. But Zhuang Guo and others are far superior to those bumpkin in terms of strength and equipment. After all, some of the top equipment in Taizhou are too rare and cannot be bought if you have money. Snowstorm. Zhuang Guo raised his hand, a strong wind roared, and the temperature in the air dropped an unknown number of times in an instant. Some players in front of the Hall of Fame were frozen into blocks of ice. Ice Spear. Ice Bullet. With her magic beads, Zhuang Guo freed her hands and used her skills to hit anyone in seconds. Beauties bring disaster, beautiful mountains and clear waters also release all kinds of magic, crazy instant kills. They all have increased fighting spirit, and their combat power is quite terrifying. Charge up and chop them to death. Those women who have committed crimes must be tortured, Qiu Feng roared, and his troops rushed out. As for the local tyrants, most of them like to play warriors. After all, they like the feeling that they have high defense and thick health, and others cannot cut them. Therefore, the long-range output of the Hall of Fame is quite weak. The army charged, getting closer and closer. Zhuang Guo and others were secretly anxious. It is undeniable that the rich people in the Hall of Fame must have high output and have an absolute advantage in numbers. Once they rush over, they will be in danger. Just then, Yang Tian and the other two came. Finally caught up. Yang Tian smiled slightly, raised his hand and threw out a sea of fire. The black flames burned the earth, and all the members of the Hall of Fame were burned. 1. 1. 1. As expected of a rich player, each of them has high defense and thick blood, but Yang Tian's black sea of fire can't break the defense. Yang Tian smiled and snapped his fingers calmly. Immediately, the whole sky darkened, making the Hall of Fame people, and even some passers-by who were brushing the wild around, have a dark resistance of -1,500 points. Yang Tian is the LV50 darkness coming, and the dark sea of fire is only LV25. The range of darkness coming is much larger than that of the sea of fire. Darkness coming almost covered the entire field, weakening everyone's dark resistance, but the dark sea of fire can only burn the people in the Hall of Fame. Yang Tian must have deliberately targeted them, and he certainly won't bully innocent players. 33,000. 31,023. 39,201. For a moment, the Hall of Fame people began to lose blood like crazy. Just a dark descent made such a huge difference. Oh my god, a mere sea of fire, 1% of the output, can burn so much blood of me. Which kid is setting a wildfire, looking for death? The Hall of Fame people were shocked and angry. Although they had a lot of blood, they also had more than 100,000 blood. The sea of fire burned more than 30,000 of them every second. They couldn't hold on for a few seconds. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 277. Brothers, come on, if we don't kill him, we will be burned to death in the sea of fire. The Hall of Fame people roared, gave up Zhuang Guo and others, and rushed towards Yang Tian instead. Extreme Summoning. Yang Tian sneered and summoned a dark mass of undead to fight, and the two sides soon fought together. Hey, summoning thousands of undead at a time, the Necromancer is so awesome. And the damage of each undead is so high that it can easily kill people in seconds. Incredible, if I had known earlier, I would have played the Necromancer. Amid the shouting and cursing, the number of armies on both sides was constantly decreasing. The undead army blesses Yang Tian's attributes, the damage is off the charts, and it can easily kill the members of the Hall of Fame. But the undead are very fragile. Even if they are level 61 high-level monsters with 40,000 to 50,000 lives, the local tyrants on the Hall of Fame side are so well equipped that chopping them is like chopping melons and vegetables. However, in a duel, the undead are more powerful and can remove the power of the Hall of Fame people, thus killing the enemy in seconds. A few seconds later, under the pressure of the dark sea of fire, most of the Hall of Fame people were killed by the army of undead, leaving only the last hundreds of people. Led by Qiu Feng himself, the hundreds of people all spread their fighting spirit wings and stood proudly in the sky. Obviously, they are the core members of the Hall of Fame. My dark sea of fire can last for 1 minute, while your fighting spirit wings can only last for 10 seconds. You are standing in the air like this. The situation doesn't seem good, right? Yang Tian looked up at the sky and smiled faintly. After he finished speaking, he suddenly felt a strong wind coming from behind, and he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Obviously, an assassin took advantage of the chaos to touch his back and wanted to sneak attack him. Yang Tian's consciousness was super god, he had reacted, but his body speed couldn't keep up with the reaction speed. There was no way, he was a necromancer after all, and his speed was not as fast as the top assassins. With a bang, Yang Tian felt a pain in the back of his head and passed out. But there was no damage on his head, which surprised Wang Sen, who appeared behind him. Bone shield? No, it's more than that. The main reason is that his dark resistance is too high, Wang Sen said secretly. He is an assassin, and currently he is going for the dark attribute. Because his dark strength is far inferior to Yang Tian's dark resistance, his damage is reduced too much. Bang bang bang. Wang Sen was shocked, but his offensive in his hands did not stop at all. In a few seconds, he hit Yang Tian more than a dozen times. He was too much damaged by Yang Tian, and his flat attack could not break the defense. One skill could only hit about 50,000. Yang Tian did not lose blood with the bone shield, and there was no damage display. Therefore, Wang Sen did not know how much damage he had dealt, and his flat attack could not break the defense. Until after a set, Wang Sen hit Yang Tian more than a dozen times. In Wang Sen's opinion, Yang Tian should have fallen down long ago and died. However, Yang Tian not only did not die, but also had full blood. Not only was his health full, but his bone shield also had only a slight crack. The elemental shield absorbs damage, so that the owner does not lose blood, and even the damage value is not displayed. Because of this, Wang Sen made a misjudgment. No. Impossible, Wang Sen opened his mouth wide, unbelievable. At this stage, high-end players often kill in seconds when they fight. But he finally managed to knock Yang Tian unconscious, and then he hit him with more than a dozen swords, just like that. He didn't even cause a single drop of blood. He couldn't even break an elemental shield? What are you surprised about? Is it so unbelievable that you can't hit me? Yang Tian said calmly. Wang Sen was stunned. Take the 60-level advanced dark gem for example, it adds 180 points of dark power and 360 points of dark resistance. Haven't you noticed? For the same attribute, the attribute resistance is higher than the attribute strength. Yang Tian glanced at Wang Sen and sneered, when you find out that I also have the dark attribute, you shouldn't be so stubborn. So what? You and I restrain each other. I can't beat you, so can you beat me? Wang Sen laughed wildly. Undead transformation netherworld assassin. Throat slashing. Swish. Yang Tian swept over with a knife, cut Wang Sen's neck, blood gushed out, and dealt 1,000,000 damage. Wang Sen's eyes widened, his face full of disbelief, and then fell down. My dark advent weakened your dark resistance by 1,500 points. How big is the gap? Don't you know, Yang Tian sneered. Yang Tian ended the battle here. Huang Mao Shuangro and others had already flown into the sky and fought with Qiu Feng and others. Yang Tian transformed into a skeleton archer, and while moving, he fired cold arrows to attack, and he could kill instantly, and shot down the opponent's strong men one by one. Is Wang Sen dead? Damn it, he can't even kill a necromancer in seconds. Qiu Feng was so angry that he was speechless, and he cursed Wang Sen's ancestors in his heart. After all, Wang Sen was an assassin, and he was better at sneak attacks. He failed in a great opportunity. And now, Yang Tian has stepped into the dark sea of fire to move. At this time, the assassin can't sneak attack, because once the assassin enters the sea of fire, he will lose his invisibility. Dochi Hui consumes too much mana. If I go down, I will be burned to death by the sea of fire again. Qiu Feng gritted his teeth and sighed in his heart. His action failed this time. He can only escape now, otherwise he will die. Don't let them escape, Yang Tian shouted to Huang Mao Shuangro and others from below. Shuangro understood, and once again used a blizzard to control the group, freezing Kai Feng and others again. Sweeping the army. Huang Mao fired a shot, the flame broke the ice, and Kai Feng and others were all killed instantly. One after another, the charred corpses fell from the air, stirring up smoke and dust. Shuanggro's face was cold, and she said, "Master, Brother Shui, my people will be here soon. I want to guard the corpses here and make Kai Feng and Wang Sen and those bastards all lose levels." "Well, do you need help?" Yang Tian Huang Mao asked. Shuangro shook her head and smiled. Kai Feng and Wang Sen, the slightly powerful characters, are dead, and the remaining ones in the Hall of Fame are just a group of rabble. No matter how many people they come, our Goddess Hall can take it. Shuangro seemed quite excited. Their Goddess Hall and the Hall of Fame are both in the Tianlan Empire, so they are naturally inseparable from the battle. Now that Kai Feng and others are all dead, she can make them all lose a level by guarding the corpses. In that case, it will be a blow to the Hall of Fame. On the other hand, she naturally had some advantages. Yang Tian said nothing, and returned to the copy mirror with Huang Mao Xiaofei. The 14 people brushed the copy, and brushed the expert level of the other 3 copies in turn, and opened the nightmare level. "Go back and upgrade first, tomorrow, we will come back to take down these 3 hell first kills." Yang Tian smiled, and returned to the Minotaur tribe of the Xinwu Empire with everyone. Yang Tian continued to burn the Minotaur tribe and lead the team to level up. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 278. Level is very important. If you count carefully, Yang Tian only got a few first kills in Hell. Expert and Nightmare levels have first kill rewards. Top players, such as Izhi Fifan and Jian Huang, quickly level up. Once they meet the requirements of the challenge dungeon, they will immediately get the first kills of Expert and Nightmare. The first kill in Hell is really hard to get, so Yang Tian will be given the opportunity. If Yang Tian's level is higher than them and he upgrades faster than them, he will not give them a first kill at all. There is no way. Yang Tian started late at the beginning, and it was not until recently that he finally pulled up the level. China War Zone level rankings. No 1, God's Left Hand, level 63 Sword Demon. No 2, Shinayu, level 61 Assassin. No 3, God's Apple, level 61 Assassin. No 4, God's Candy, level 61 Elemental Mage. No 5, God's Right Hand, level 61 Shield Warrior. At present, except for God's Left Hand, which is far ahead at level 63, other great gods and even first-class masters are all level 61. The 14 people on Yang Tian's side were all level 61, so they were no longer behind in level. If we reach level 70 first, then all the level 70 dungeons in the 4 empires, from experts to nightmares, and then to the first kill of Hell, can be taken. Yang Tian's heart was agitated. The next day, Yang Tian led a group of 14 people and entered the nightmare level of Mechanical Factory. In the first level, there were thousands of bald robots. They were 2 meters tall, all black, holding alloy swords, full of power. Robot, Advanced Monster. Level 60. HP, 100,000. Basic Physical Attack, 6,000. 4 Resistances 500. Armor Break 200, Double Guard 300. Skills, Heavy Attack, Continuous Slash. The robots looked bulky, with high power and high defense, but they seemed to be much worse in agility. When they found that Yang Tian and others had invaded, they rushed over in unison, but their speed was obviously very slow. Dark Sea of Fire. 126,000. 126,000. 126,000. Yang Tian raised his hand and threw down the raging sea of fire. In just 1 second, more than half of the robots were burned into scrap metal, and they fell down with a bang, exploding with alloy swords, copper coins, materials, etc. on the ground. There were another 300 robots still running in the sea of fire. They were all robot captains, and they were level 65 elite boss. Robot captain, elite boss. Level 65. HP, 600,000. Basic physical attack, 20,000. 4 resistances 1,000. Armor break 300, double guard 600. Skills, heavy attack, continuous slash, charge. 27,500. 27,500. 27,500. The robot captains were obviously much stronger. Yang Tian's dark sea of fire burned on them, and could only burn more than 20,000 lives. Darkness is coming. As Yang Tian waved his hand, the entire mechanical factory seemed to be shrouded in darkness, and the sky became obviously darker. The dark resistance of the robot captains decreased by 1,500 points to -500. Yang Tian's dark strength was 3,400, and the dark sea of fire burned on them, doubling the damage by 40 times. The next second, the burn damage suffered by the robot captains became 60,000. At this pace, they can all be burned to death in 10 seconds. Yang Tian was still not satisfied, and waved his hand to summon 10 teams of undead. Now the number of his 10 teams of undead is about 1,000, each consuming 610 points of mana, and 1,000 is 610,000 MP. Because of the effect of the extreme summon, consume double mana, summon the undead at one time. Now he has more than 1.2 million mana, and using an extreme summon will almost empty the mana. But it doesn't matter, because of the effect of the Heart of the God Tree, he recovers more than 120,000 mana per second. 1,000 undead actually consume more than 60,000 mana per second. After offsetting each other, Yang Tian recovers about 60,000 mana per second, which is completely enough. The undead army rushed up in a mighty force, killing them instantly. Any undead could deal more than 600,000 damage to the robot captain with a normal attack, almost killing him instantly. If they used skills, it would be at least 6 million real damage, which would be an overflow of damage, killing them instantly. Although ordinary undead were only level 61 high-level monsters, they were also blessed with Yang Tian's attributes, 3,400 points of dark power, 500 points of armor penetration, absolute critical strike, and 2.8 times critical strike damage. Because of these enhancements, their combat power was off the charts, far beyond the ordinary level 61 high-level monsters. Of course, they did not bless Yang Tian's defensive attributes, and they were still very fragile, with only about 50,000 health. The undead army vs the robot captain, both sides were killed instantly. But the number of undead army was thousands, while the number of robot captains was only about 300. The undead army naturally crushed them quickly, and the loss was less than 10%. Yang Tian led the team, almost alone, crushing thousands of robots in minutes. If his video of killing monsters was posted online, it would probably be worshipped by countless people. But the team members had no change on their faces, as if they had long been accustomed to his abnormality. Yang Tian didn't care. He led the team and commanded the undead army to push forward to the second level. There were thousands of mechanical dogs in sight, and there were half high-level monsters and half elite bosses. Overall, it was much more difficult than the first level. The Sea of Fire or the Dark Sea of Fire lasted for 1 minute and cooled down for 1 minute. At the moment of release, the cooling time was counted down synchronously. Yang Tian left the Dark Sea of Fire in the first level. Now that he reached the second level, it has only been more than 10 seconds, and the Dark Sea of Fire has not cooled down yet. Yang Tian commanded the undead army to kill the mechanical dog army. Yang Tian's undead army consumed 10% in the first level, and now there are only about 900 left. 900 versus 1000, it still has an advantage. Because the undead army can kill instantly at any time, and the mechanical dogs can easily kill the undead instantly if they use skills, but ordinary attacks cannot do it instantly. High-level monsters and elites don't have high IQs. Sometimes, they don't use skills, but only use ordinary skills. They can't kill the undead in seconds, but are killed by the undead in seconds. Summon the Black Knight. Yang Tian raised his hand and cast a black summoning array, and then summoned 7 majestic Black Knights. Yang Tian has upgraded Summon Black Knight to LV15. The 7 summoned Black Knights are all genuine level 61 lords. And it also blesses Yang Tian's attribute strength, armor penetration, and even critical hit rate and critical hit damage. Black Knight, Lord. Level 61. HP, 3 million. Basic physical attack, 50,000. Dark attribute attack. Dark strength 4,400, Yang Tian adds 3,400. Dark resistance 2,000, fire and ice 1,100, light resistance 0. Armor penetration 1,500, Yang Tian adds 500. Dual protection 1,000. Absolute critical strike damage 3.8 times, Yang Tian adds 2.8 times. Skills, charge, black gun, whirlwind slash, sweep the thousands, summon undead warhorse. Night skills, death charge, war trampling, desperate thrust. Passive, earthquake. Note, the undead summoned by muddy waters can exist for up to 300 seconds. There is no doubt that the Black Knights are now quite strong. With the addition of some attack speed from Yang Tian, their combat power is far from that of ordinary level 61 lords, and they can be compared. In terms of combat power, they are still slightly inferior to Yang Tian. But in terms of real combat power, they have completely surpassed Yang Tian. After all, Yang Tian only has 500 magic penetration. If he encounters a boss with high magic protection, he will be hurt many times more. However, their armor penetration is as high as 1,500 points, which is at least much higher than Yang Tian. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 279. Death Charge. The 7 Black Knights riding on their undead warhorses turned into black streams of light and joined the battle. They waved their black spears wildly, constantly crushing some mechanical dogs into pieces. If any one of them was to attack, it was unknown how many mechanical dogs would be killed. After the 7 Black Knights joined, the overall strength of the undead army was more than doubled. It only took a few seconds for the undead army to complete the second level. After Yang Tian asked everyone to clean up the spoils, he led the group and the mighty undead army to crush the third level, the fourth level, and soon entered the boss level. The boss is not a robot, but a fully armed human in steel armor. Energy Warrior Rika, King/Intelligent Life. Level 65. HP, 12 million. Basic Magic Attack, 150,000. Light Attribute Attack. Light Intensity 4000. Light Resistance 8000, Dark Fire and Ice Resistance 4000. Magic Penetration 1500, Double Guard 2000. Skills, Heavy Attack, Continuous Slash, Charge, Energy Guard. Passive, Earthquake. Rika is fully armed, even his head is blocked by a transparent helmet. He holds a laser sword in his left hand and an energy gun in his right hand. From the skills, he seems to be a knight, but he gave up the small round shield and took an extra gun. Ha ha ha, I, Rika, am an energy warrior, and I am already a being beyond humans. Ants, you are here to die, Rika laughed crazily. Facing the dark army of undead, Rika was not in a hurry, raised the energy gun and started firing. Bang, bang, bang. Energy bombs burst out one after another, hitting the 7 Black Knights, dealing more than 6 million damage, instantly blasting the 7 Black Knights into slag. You know, Rika is a light attribute, and has 4000 light strength. And the undead under Yang Tian have almost no light resistance. So that means that Rika can deal the most extreme damage when attacking the undead. Human, you are a necromancer, right? It's really annoying to summon so many ants, you go to hell. Rika stared at Yang Tian and sneered, and then fired at Yang Tian. Before Yang Tian moved, Xiao Jin took a step like lightning and blocked him like a giant tower. Bang! 1. Xiao Jin took a hit, and a puff of white smoke rose from his abdomen. Are you kidding? Xiao Jin is also a light attribute. Your Rika has 4000 light strength. My Xiao Jin has 10,000 light resistance. Your Rika has 1500 magic penetration. My Xiao Jin has 3100 points of magic protection. In short, I don't know how many times Xiao Jin reduced Rika's damage. It's normal that he can't break Xiao Jin's defense. No, impossible, royal beast, and it's a royal beast with light attributes. Damn it, the doctor didn't give me energy guns with other attributes, Rika complained bitterly. He fired several shots at Xiao Jin, but he couldn't break the defense. He could only force one life. Roar. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. 666,666. Xiao Jin roared, jumped up with a giant sword, crossed an unknown number of meters, and then fell to the ground. Bang 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 within a radius of 30 yards, like thunder and lightning, the originally intact ground instantly cracked, showing shocking cracks. This sky-falling and earth-shattering is one of Xiao Jin's strongest skills at present, but its light attribute is also targeted by Rika. Xiao Jin's light intensity of 5100 points is already very high, but Rika's light resistance is as high as 8000 points, which still reduces Xiao Jin's damage by 30 times. Rika obviously doesn't want to fight with Xiao Jin. However, although Xiao Jin can't deal much damage, the terrifying power of the royal beast has repeatedly made Rika stiff, knocked away, or knocked down. Disperse. Yang Tian waved his hand and dispersed all the broken undead army under his command. The undead can exist for a maximum of 300 seconds, and the summoning skills only need 1 minute of cooldown. In fact, some of Yang Tian's summoning skills have already cooled down. Darkness is coming. Extreme summoning. Corpse explosion. 420 million. As the resummoned undead army exploded, a huge damage appeared, almost blinding everyone's dog eyes. As for Rika, he had been blown to pieces and died. Tens, hundreds, thousands, millions, shit, am I seeing right? That was 420 million damage just now, Huang Mao asked in disbelief with his eyes wide open. Xiaofei, Lan Yu, Huo Wu, and everyone else were also stunned and in disbelief. Is 420 million high? My corpse explosion is 1,000 times the percentage. Yang Tian laughed and said disapprovingly. It's just a king level life. If the corpse explosion can't produce hundreds of millions, then it's useless. Bah! 1,000 times the percentage is really disgusting. Huang Mao sighed. You know, even a big move of more than 20 levels is only more than 10 times, at most 20 times the percentage. And the corpse explosion is actually 1,000 times the percentage, which is really abnormal. Moreover, the 1,000 times percentage of the corpse explosion is not the upper limit. As the number of Yang Tian's undead army increases, the power of the corpse explosion will naturally increase. At that time, let alone 1,000 times, even 10,000 times will be far more than that. Haha, it's really a bit disgusting. But the profession of the Necromancer is not something that most people can play. Yang Tian laughed. Speaking of which, if he had not changed his job to Undead Overlord and did not have the skill of Undead transformation, he would not have been so obsessed with Ring of Magic energy conversion, and naturally he would not have been able to reach his current state. If it were an ordinary undead mage, they would have a problem stacking mana, so how could they have the spare energy to stack magic attack and personal output? With low basic output, even if the skill percentage is high, it is impossible to reach the abnormal level. In short, only someone like Yang Tian can bring the power of corpse explosion to the extreme. The nightmare level boss of Mechanical Factory is Rika, and now Yang Tian and others have cleared it. Rika is only a king level life, and it is not the first kill, so there are not many things that explode. Yang Tian did not care at first, but who knew that he found a good thing. Energy gun manufacturing drawing, consumables players with refining skills can learn. Who can refine? Yang Tian asked. Me. Xiaofei, Green Algae Head, Ghost Hand, and Xiao Feng raised their hands at the same time. Although alchemy and weapon refining are both special skills, they are not that rare. What is really rare is the blueprint. Without the blueprint, you can't refine anything. Who has the highest level? Yang Tian asked again. Everyone looked at each other and discussed with each other. They found that Xiao Fei's weapon refining level was the highest, reaching LV 30. I don't know how much effort and property he put into it. Without a doubt, Yang Tian gave the energy gun blueprint to Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei took it with ecstasy, clapped his hands, and learned directly that the materials for making energy guns are mainly king equipment. The level of king equipment can make the level of energy guns. Of course, with my level of weapon refining, making energy guns is naturally 100% successful. Xiao Fei smiled. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 280. After exiting the dungeon, Xiao Fei immediately used the weapon refining technique, consuming a level 60 royal weapon and some other materials to create an energy gun. 6th edition energy gun, king weapon. Level 60. Equipment type, firearms, can be used by any profession. Magic attack power add 12,000. Attack speed add 100%. Spell penetration add 120. Additional, each time a shot is fired, the mana level of the player is -1%. Although energy guns are not restricted to professions, most professions are equipped with guns and cannot use guns to perform skills. Only the hidden profession of gunner can develop exclusive skills of firearms. Generally, professions use guns, which are just normal attacks. Oh, this thing is not bad on the side. The two girls Huao Lan Mao were slightly moved after seeing the energy gun. Energy guns are magic output. The burst damage is definitely not as high as their skills. But their skills are limited, especially Blue Cat. As a priest, she only has 1 or 2 output skills. After the skills are used up, she can use this energy gun to make up for the vacuum period of skills. The energy gun increases the attack speed by 100%, doubling the user's attack speed. Seriously speaking, the output is still good. It's better than rushing up and knocking monsters with a staff after the mage priest releases his skills, right? Okay, one for each of you. Xiao Fei chuckled, casually made a few more energy guns, and gave one to Fire Dance Blue Cat Alice. As for the rest of the people, they lacked interest. Everyone was a physical output profession, and using magic weapons naturally couldn't do much damage, so it was meaningless. Among the people, apart from the three women, Yang Tian was the only one with a magic profession. "Boss, do you want it?" Xiao Fei asked. Yang Tian shook his head lightly. Because of the undead transformation, he had so many output skills that there was no skill vacuum period at all. The burst damage of the energy gun is definitely not as good as the skill damage. Therefore, Yang Tian doesn't need that kind of thing. Of course, Yang Tian is a high-end player who pays attention to practicality. At present, the profession of shooter has not yet become popular, and is even almost invisible. Players take out a gun and shoot, which is quite exciting. As long as the props can attract attention and show off, they are usually very expensive. Naturally, Xiao Fei can also use this method to make a fortune appropriately. "Let's go, hell level." Yang Tian said hello and led the group into the hell copy of Machine Factory. The first few levels were still pushed horizontally, and they soon reached the boss level. Boss is a 5-meter tall mechanical giant with a laser gun in his left hand and an electric knife in his right hand. Mechanical Titan, Emperor Beast. Level 65. HP, 25 million. Basic physical attack, 220,000. Light attribute attack. Light intensity 5,000. Light resistance 10,000, fire and ice dark resistance 6,000. Armor break 2,000, dual guard 3,500. Skills, Thunder electromagnetic field, electromagnetic cannon, thunder slash, charged bump. Passive, earthquake. Ants, this is not the place you should be. The mechanical giant spoke human words, of course in a cold and ruthless mechanical synthesized voice. After saying that, it rushed towards everyone with great momentum. While rushing, it also raised the electric knife horizontally. I saw lightning flashing above the tip of the knife, and it quickly condensed into a basketball-sized electro-optical bomb. It accumulated bigger and bigger, and finally exploded out, crushing towards Yang Tian and others. This is its electromagnetic gun skill, which is quite powerful. At this time, Xiaojin let out a loud roar and resolutely rushed out to block in front of everyone, attacking the electromagnetic gun head-on. Boom. 1. Although the electromagnetic gun was powerful, it had light attributes and could not break through Xiaojin's defense. It only forced a little damage. Soon the two big guys collided fiercely, each furiously attacking, but neither could break through the other's defense. The light intensity of both of them is about 5,000, and the light resistance is also about 10,000. In other words, when they attack each other, the damage will be reduced by about 50 times. If this can break the defense, it will be strange. Of course, Yang Tian had already summoned the little devil to join forces with the little finance. Under absolute hatred, the mechanical giant attacked Xiaojin crazily, but could not break through the defense. At this time, the mechanical giant suddenly used the laser gun in his hand. With a pop sound, a white bolt-like beam of light was seen coming out of the gun. The diameter of the beam was very small, it looked extremely condensed, and it was extremely powerful. That shot actually shot directly through Xiaojin's chest and caused 2.5 million real damage. Hiss, incredible. Just now, the mechanical giant was unable to break through the Skeleton King's defense, but now it can actually deal 2.5 million real damage. Everyone opened their mouths and exclaimed in amazement. No one noticed that the mechanical giant's blue tank dropped by 1/10 in an instant, to about 2.5 million. It's the laser gun. Have you noticed that the mechanical giant's blue gauge has dropped? I doubt that laser gun can inflict as many solid wounds as it consumes mana, Yang Tiandeo said. Everyone looked carefully and found that the mechanical giant's mana had indeed dropped a bit, and they couldn't help but admire Yang Tian's keen observation. Yang Tian chuckled secretly. My keen observation skills are just my experience in my previous life. Of course, Yang Tian deliberately said something slightly different from the facts. Otherwise, if it was completely consistent, it would be too incredible, and he would have a hard time explaining it. That laser gun can indeed deal as much fixed damage as it consumes mana. But there is also a limit, that is, it can only consume 10% of mana at a time to deal the same amount of fixed damage to the enemy. How terrible is the fixed damage? Completely ignore defense and directly deduct blood? Of course, the boss is a bit too abnormal, just like this mechanical giant, which has a total of 25 million mana, 10% is 2.5 million fixed damage, which is really terrible. But at this stage, the player's mana is only a few tens of thousands, and 10% is only a few thousand fixed damage, the effect is minimal. Darkness is coming. Extreme summoning. Weakness. Corpse explosion. 35 million. Yang Tian made a wave of arrangements, and then snapped his fingers, exploding 35 million damage, turning the mechanical giant into slag in seconds. Before, Yang Tian played Thunder card without weakness, and he could deal more than 400 million damage. Now, he played mechanical giant with weakness, and he only dealt 35 million damage. This is enough to prove the difference between the king and the emperor. Fortunately, Yang Tian still killed the mechanical giant in seconds and successfully passed the hell level copy of Mechanical Factory. The first kill broadcast sounded in the Tianlan Empire, and Yang Tian got 2 skill points and everyone else got 1 skill point each. Because it was the first kill, the mechanical giant had a gorgeous explosion, and a refining blueprint was exploded. Laser gun production blueprint, consumable players with refining skills can learn. In addition to the blueprint, the mechanical giant produced a natural furnace, and no other imperial products. It did produce a few invitations, which turned out to be invitations to challenge the hero level of Mechanical Factory.